So the next case is products of tangents and secants where you've got an odd power on your tan x. So m is odd. In this case, what you'll do is split off a secant tangent to be your du. Use tangent squared is secant squared minus 1 to write all the other tangents in terms of secants, and then let u equal secant, right? Because the derivative of secant is secant tangent. So again, you're trying to find your du. So for example, in example 6, we are integrating tan cubed secant 1/5 x dx. So I got an odd tangent. I don't have an odd secant. I want to split off a secant tangent. I don't have a whole secant here. I've only got a 1/5 power. Well, I need to do a little bit of algebra here. So we'll write this as integral tangent cubed x, and then secant 1/5 power x. And then I'd like that to just be a secant x. So let's multiply by secant to the 4/5 power x, because when you multiply, you'll add these exponents. And let's do it on the bottom also, because then that way we are just multiplying by 1, right? Any expression divided by itself is 1, and then dx. So now this will be integral tan cubed x, and then 1/5 and 4/5 is 5/5 or 1, so secant x on the top. And then in the denominator, secant 4/5 x. And dx. So now I can break off a secant tangent to be my du. So this will be integral. If we take one of the tangents out, we'll just have a tan squared left. Tan squared x. And then we'll have a secant x tan x out on the end. Dx. And denominator still got our secant 4/5 x. So secant x tan x, that's our du. That means our u is going to be secant. We need to write those tan squareds in terms of secant. So secant squared minus 1. So this will be integral on the top, secant squared x minus 1. Denominator, secant 4/5 x. And then secant x tan x dx. So now we're actually ready for our u sub. So u is going to be secant x. Du will be secant x tan x dx. And so this will be integral. Secant squared will be u squared, so u squared minus 1. And denominator, secant 4/5 will be u to the 4/5. And this out here is our du, so du. Well, that simplified things a lot. Now we just got powers to work with. So let's take this u to the 4/5, bring it up to the top as a negative 4/5 power. So u to the negative 4/5 times u squared minus 1 du. So let's go ahead and multiply that guy in. When you multiply, you add exponents. So we want to write 2 as 10/5 minus 4/5 will be 6/5. So this is integral u to the 6/5 power. And then u to the negative 4/5 times negative 1 minus u to the negative 4/5 and du. So now we're ready to go ahead and do power rule there. So this will be, let's see, 6/5 plus 1, 6/5 plus 5/5, 11/5. So this will be u to the 11/5 divide by 11/5, which is the same as multiply by 5/11, minus add 1, negative 4/5 plus 5/5 would be 1/5. So u to the 1/5 power. And dividing by 1/5 is the same as multiplying by 5 over 1, or 5, and then plus our constant. And now we can just plug our secant back in. So 5/11, and then we get secant 11/5 power x minus 5, and then secant 1/5 power x, plus our constant, and we got it. Back to our original variable. All the integrating is done.